This video will offer an overview of Exam-Made products and cover the roles of different departments to make each offering from your chapter a success. As you know, SOS chapters offer a wide variety of Exam-Made products. These include in-person Exam-Made sessions, digital Exam-Made sessions, and webinar Exam-Made sessions. All these three offer students the ability to learn directly from an instructor. The digital Exam-Made session is pre-recorded, while the webinar and in-person session are live. SOS chapters also offer what are called take-home packages. Take-home packages can include practice questions and answers or written notes of the material covered during a session. It's important to diversify your offerings to engage more students. The more products you have, the more likely students are to be able to take advantage of what you can offer. Especially if you have an engaged and really excited instructor, encourage them to try out different products. The great thing about digital Exam-Mades or DEAs and take-home packages is that they can be created at any time of year.
Products that Laura just described are similar in that they take advantage of peer-to-peer learning, which has been proven to help students feel more comfortable in their learning environment and confident in their ability to learn. Given recent trends among students, as shown in some of our attached infographics, this is more important than ever. The end result of an Exam-Made session isn't just higher marks for participants, while that's true, but also lower levels of stress and academic anxiety, increased confidence, improved accessibility and equity in education, greater sense of community connectedness among students on campus, and the opportunity for instructors to reinforce their own knowledge and for all volunteers to develop their leadership capacities as they bring the session to fruition.
Now we'll look specifically at live Exam-Made sessions and how a chapter works together before, during, and after each session to bring the session from an idea to a successful event. As you know, at every SOS chapter, there are 6 distinct departments. The success of any SOS chapter depends on the successful communication and collaboration between the volunteers within each department. The collaboration between departments is like a domino effect. If one department begins to fall behind, it will directly impact the ability for the other departments to do their jobs. This is why we provide our Exam-Made checklist to help keep things on track. In following modules, we will go into more detail of each department's responsibilities, but for now, we'll walk through an overview so you not only understand how your department works, but how your work directly impacts the rest of the chapter.
So let's begin looking at what happens before an Exam-Made session. The Human Resources Department will find, hire, and welcome the student volunteers who make the session possible, including course coordinators, Exam-Made instructors, and of course the VPs and directors of the department.
The Marketing Department will promote the location, time, and date of the Exam-Made session once confirmed. They can create buzz about SOS and the Exam-Made products you'll be offering this year prior to the logistics of the session being confirmed, but marketing campaigns dramatically increase once the time, date, and location of the session are confirmed.
The Business Development Department seeks sponsors for the Exam-Made session to help cover marketing costs and help offer something like free food or giveaways at the session, as well as making sure that our national sponsorship requirements are being met at your chapter. Meanwhile, the Finance Department handles cash collection, registration, and deposits from the Exam-Made session, so you need to make sure that you have the right volunteers assigned to this session.
And the Educational Development Department plays the biggest role in the successful execution of an Exam-Made session. They start by creating a plan for the entire year of the Exam-Made products that your chapter will offer. Then they train the course coordinators and instructors hired to execute the content of the session. Next, the ED department coordinates the logistics for the session, including confirming the time and date of the session, engaging professors, uploading the session to their chapter's website, and booking an appropriate room. They also set deadlines for the instructors to submit their session materials in order to assure they're of the highest quality. And finally, the ED department creates a contingency plan in case of any last-minute issues such as illness or weather. And finally, they upload the take-home materials attendees of the session will get and coordinate a volunteer to attend the session to record a digital Exam-Made.
The International Development Department coordinates to have a volunteer to attend a session, presenting about the outreach trips and projects so that all participants understand where the session revenues are going.
And finally, our lovely chapter presidents. They're responsible for ensuring that all the tasks we've just shared go smoothly and without issue. They are the ones to call should you have any questions or concerns and are your source of guidance when it comes to problem solving.
So now let's go to the day of the session. The HR department should send a good luck message to the whole team. Meanwhile, the marketing team creates any last-minute buzz they can online and on campus about the session. Meanwhile, the business development department will be double-checking to coordinate for any arrangements with local sponsors for the ExamAid.
The course coordinator and the ExamAid instructor from the ED department will arrive at least 30 minutes prior to the start of the session to ensure that the room is set up properly and equipped with the right audiovisual equipment. Then, the 2 finance volunteers will set themselves up outside of the room to begin processing and registering ExamAid attendees.
Once the session is about to begin, the representatives from the International Development Department will make a short presentation about the project that will be funded from that ExamAid session, as well as the trip logistics and where students can go to get more information.
And then, the educational development team executes the session.
It's your time to shine.
The ExamAid instructor will spend 2 to 3 hours with the group of students reviewing core concepts for their midterms or finals. The session, again, will also be recorded by a volunteer from the educational development team for sale as a digital ExamAid. And of course, here are your chapter presidents making sure the session went smoothly and being ready to help as they are needed.
And then there's just a few final odds and ends to wrap up after the session. The finance department will ensure that all cash is collected and deposited as per our financial policies. And the business development department send a follow-up email to the sponsors with pictures and details of what they helped to provide.
And the international development department will follow up with students from the session who expressed interest in an outreach trip. The HR department will send a nice thank you email to all volunteers involved in the session. The educational development team will follow up with the instructor and the course coordinator to have a debrief of the session and any areas of improvement for the next one. They will also ensure that the digital ExamAid session is uploaded onto their chapter website and is ready for sale. And again, your presidents will be here to make sure everyone is ready to start the process all over again.
Because SOS works within the academic calendar, the timelines in preparing for an ExamAid session are so critical. So here are a few key milestones that need to be kept in mind. We'll be walking through this again in more detail as we get into your specific department training. But it's because of the successful execution of all these tasks that SOS can continue to raise marks, raise money, and raise roofs.